Though the odds makers and the sharps will look at this and say minus 250 Alexander Volkov, clearly somebody likes him to win. The fan consensus, anybody you talk to about this matchup, is like Tai Tuivasa all day, plus 205. This is just going to be a steal in terms of value. And while I think that Bam Bam is incredibly dangerous of a fighter, I want your opinion, AJ, as somebody who is more or less backing Tuivasa on this fight. What is it about him that gives you so much confidence that he can actually defeat an Alexander Volkov, who has been surging as of late?
You're right. The resurgence of Alexander Volkov has been astonishing, man. It's like he got that new tattoo on his back and he decided to become a new man, a new fighter. What gives me confidence betting, or for Tai Tuivasa, excuse me, is the speed he presents as well as the kind of slickster way he goes about it, man. He looks like he's a big guy. He looks like he's a plotter. He looks like he's just going to be doing, the normal stuff you'd expect a heavyweight to do, but he's quick. He's fast. He has good footwork. He's able to move in and bob and weave. Sure, the wrestling acumen, it's not really there where we'd like it to be, especially for how high-ranked he is. I don't really see a wrestling match happening there, though. I do expect Alexander Volkov to try and control the outside, control the distance, really work that range. But again, in order to land that kind of stuff, you need to be able to put yourself in that danger. And that's where I think Tai Tuivasa strives the best, is in that danger, in the phone booth, when you're going toe-to-toe and just swinging haymakers. That's where Tai Tuivasa finds himself lucky. I'm expecting a shoey out of this one, Derek. Do you see it the same way? Do you see Alexander Volkov maintaining range, or is this going to be a brawl from the jump?
I think that this can absolutely turn into a brawl. I think the odds are this does turn into a brawl, and that's where I can understand why people like Tuivasa. Because you turn this into a phone booth fight. I like Tuivasa like 9.5 out of 10 times, right? But the difference here with Alexander Volkov is that even though I don't expect him to be able to like fully maintain the distance and the range of the entire fight, you do have to take into consideration Tuivasa has to close that distance. Volkov does not, right? So his best shot is catch Tuivasa on the way in. I don't particularly expect this one to go above like 1.5 rounds. I don't even actually, let me look. It is 1.5 rounds. It's minus 115 a pop for the over and the under. So nobody knows, right? I don't see it going over, but the problem is Volkov getting pressured up against Tuivasa, you're back stepping, you're kind of circling out, and your back hits the cage and you're not ready for it. Then you get caught by the big one. Like, that's where I'm just like, oh my God, Tuivasa could walk away with a clean one here. But I just think that in terms of just being a more effective, well-rounded fighter who has got way more experience, who has fought tougher opposition, and the only guys that they've lost to as of late is Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. If you count the Curtis Blades one, that's wrestling. Derek Lewis, you won 99% of the fight, got knocked out in the last second. I like Volkov here. I think that there's a lot of things that you can like about him, and I think that even though we love the perspective that you're bringing of Tuivasa knockout and stuff like that, do you see why people can be high on Volkov here?
Oh, 100%, Derek. I was actually, before I submitted this pick to you, going back and forth because I can see it exactly playing out like that, man. Volkov using the range, he's avoiding things, and then whenever he sees Tai closing that distance, he hits him with a big power shot. Volkov has the power to shut your lights off. Don't play around like this guy isn't, a legitimate heavyweight with legitimate heavyweight power. He can put those lights on. That's why I have a lot of hesitancy in going for the Tai Tuivasa pick. I can see this one playing out 9 times out of 10. Or I can see this one playing out multiple ways over those 10 spans fight. You're right, though, Derek. In a phone booth, I like Tai. But in that well-roundedness fight, in the way where, more often than not, things would unfold, I think Volkov might have the edge very slightly, but just right there. And I think that's why the odds makers also see it in that range of plus 115 on both sides, up and down of the over-under. And that's what really makes it hard for me to really favor one or the other in this. I can see it ending up both ways. I'm still banking on the Tai Tuivasa KO, though. I think there's a lot of value there, especially at 205, plus 205.
And folks, you know what they say. Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than to be good. And in cases like this, you're aiming for the luck. So while we do see it differently, while the odds makers see it differently, while everybody is across the board on this one, tail who you trust, and may God be with you. You know what I'm saying? All right, AJ, real quick before we move on to this one, do we like these TKO props right here? Are you touching any decision props right here? Or do we really think this one gets out of there early?
If this one doesn't end in a TKO, Derek, I think people are going to riot. I think people are going to be throwing beers at the octagon. I like that plus money on both of those TKO props, whether you're taking Tai or whether you're taking Drago. I do like that finish.
So what that means, folks, is that if you don't want to tail either one and then you want to just go with that one, bet the fight to go to not finish in the distance. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Fight not to go the distance. All right.